Older Australians are conned out of their assets, that somebody who they trust or who finagles their way into their life takes away their assets, takes away their money. The current one that's been publicised today is the tip of a very, very, very big iceberg. And it starts just in small things like, you know, Mum, can you pay my grocery bills this week? And the resentment if you say no, I can't. The lack of understanding that once you get to my age, I can't rebuild my finances. What I have is what I have. I'm not going to get any more. And that looking at that from younger people think, well, you don't need all of that. Yeah. I could have some of that. Why don't you give that to me? I'm not saying that's happening in my family, but that's the kind of attitude that you see. And you certainly see it when, you know, boomer removers and the boomers have got everything and they've got so much and why don't they share it and it's all their fault we can't get a home. All of that rhetoric feeds into this, and then you underpin that by a massive housing shortage. Yeah. You know, it's a perfect storm.
And older people are vulnerable because they trust that their children have their best interests at heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is an instance of a son betraying that trust. His mother completely trusted him.
This is the case that's around today.
That's around today. His mum completely trusted him.
So what happened? Could you just go through that?
Look, from what I understand, and I'm not party to the case, but what I understand is that the son said that she couldn't get a pension if she had her house, which is an absolute lie, but nonetheless she trusted him. She handed her house over to him, and then he booted her out. And so she had nowhere to live. And we have numbers of instance of that happening, where the worst one I heard of was where the mum transferred it to her son, who entered into a relationship with another woman. The son, she gave it to him because she didn't want him to go through all of the death duties and all of that stuff. But he passed, and the woman who was in the relationship with her went after the house and excluded the person from the property.
So what can older people do to protect themselves from this?
What they can do is be aware, go back to the real fundamental, which says if money's involved, somebody's going to try to take it off you. And if that is somebody that you love, I'm really, really sorry, because you really do need to trust those people. But treat everything around your money with care, concern, and a little bit of, you know, doubt. Just think, hang on, I might need another opinion on this. I might need to check this through. Because had the friend who transferred the house into her son's name, had she had the advice, she would have been told, no, don't do that. It's far better for you to hand that over when you're ready to hand it over. He would have got all of that, except he wouldn't have been because he sadly passed. But she wouldn't have been excluded from her home.
How common is this?
Look, it's extremely common, starting with just a small thing like just, you know, stealing money from your mother's purse or taking it from your bank account or, you know, stealing credit cards and things like that. It's a real entitlement attitude that says it's her money, she doesn't need it, I'm going to have it, or it's his money, they don't need it, I'm going to take it. And it's really sad that that whole idea of entitlement is tied to ageism, where you're old so you don't really matter, you haven't got that much time left, you can't take it with you, all of those things that are around that. And it's really hard to break away from things that are in your face all the time. I mean, you always hear every day how baby boomers have got so much and they're so rich and they won't share it, which is not the truth. Some baby boomers are rich, but most people have only their house as their asset and are afraid. We know, at my age, I know I cannot rebuild my finances. I cannot, you know, if I was 35, losing some money wouldn't bother me because I would be young and fit enough to say, right, I can just rebuild that. But when you're my age, you can't.
So if the worst does happen, is there a way that people can get their money back?
Not without legal action, not without court case, and 90% of people do not want to take their families to court. They don't want to be in that position of suing their children. And that's what puts you in them. That's what makes it so nasty, is that someone you love, you've nurtured, you've raised and you trust has betrayed you. And your only recourse is a public legal fight, which is not a nice place to be.